not prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lion. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the end.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football channel. And it is time for my 2023-2024 Premier League predictions. Yes, I'm sure you have your own predictions. Get them in the comment section down below. Leave a like on the video. Please subscribe if you're new. We are on the road to 2.6k as well. And we will get into this. And a warm welcome back to the Premier League to Burnley and Sheffield United. And also welcome to Luton Town as well. But guys, let us get straight into this. Right, so for my relegation, I have, unfortunately, 20th place Luton Town, yes. Look, it was a magnificent story for them to get back into the Premier League. Wasn't it? It was very, very good to get them into the Premier League. They managed to get back into the playoffs as well, which was very, very good to see as well. And they did beat Coventry as well. But off the pitch problems, the stadium, they're trying to get that stadium up to a better capacity. They're trying to improve it slightly as well. And as well, they are actually trying to get players in. But to be fair, they have actually got a few players. And Ryan Giles from Wolves, Tahith Chong from Birmingham City, Mads Anderson from Barnsley. They've managed to get Marvelous Nakamba back, which I think is absolutely magnificent. Chidozie Ogbeni, a striker from Rotherham. So that will be very, very interesting indeed. And also Harry Lockyer, they've managed to keep as well. Look, Luton Town, you deserve to be in the Premier League. You deserve to be where you deserve to be. I just think it could be a wee bit step too far. But look, all I'll say is I wish you the best of luck for this season. I think Kenilworth Road is going to be an absolute fortress for you guys. If you can get wins at home, then I think that will be very, very good. It's just I think the off the pitch problems that being a bit detrimental to your season so far is one of the reasons why I just think you might have a little bit too much to do. But I wish you the best of luck, and I really, really hope you prove everybody wrong as well. But yeah, 20th place, Luton Town. In 19th place, I got Sheffield United, and unfortunately, this is all because Ilman Ndiaye looks like he is going to Marseille. Yes, he looks like he is going to Marseille. Look, Paul Heckingbottom did a magnificent job to get Sheffield United back into the Premier League, as did obviously Rob Edwards at Luton Town as well. Look, Sheffield United would be very, very good. They have brought in Yasser Larouci, Benny Traore, and Anis Ben Slimani as well. So those are the kind of the players that they brought in. But when I look at the team that they've actually lost, Enda Stevens is gone, Jack O'Connell is gone, Billy Sharp, club record scorer, isn't he? Billy Sharp, he's gone as well. So they have managed to keep obviously John Fleck and obviously Ben Osborne. They managed to keep those players. They do have obviously Ollie McBurney as well, but having someone like Billy Sharp leaving the club, you lose those goals. You do lose those goals. I think as well, you have to say as well that losing Ndiaye, who has been an absolutely magnificent player for Sheffield United, he will be a big, big miss. So I do think the Sheffield United will struggle. But if they can make Bramall Lane a fortress, like I said, I do think that they will do well. It's just away from home. We'll need to wait and see. But Sheffield United, welcome back to the Premier League. And as I do say, I do wish you the best of luck for this season. Unfortunately, I do think it will be a little bit of a step too far. So I'm going to go for Sheffield United in 19th place. So we'll go to the third relegation side, and this was very, very difficult to choose. Very, very difficult to choose. I've got to say. I could have easily put obviously Burnley in there. I could have put Everton in there. The one team I have gone for though is Wolves. Yes, this might be a bit of a shock to people, but Wolves have had a bit of a fire sale now. FFP has financially restricted Wolves from buying players. It has to be said. They have lost Connor Cody, Nathan Collins, Raul Jimenez, Ruben Neves. They've also almost lost like a full sort of a spine almost as well. Diego Costa's gone. Jeremy Tino has gone as well. So they obviously brought in Boubacar Traore, which is a very, very good signing. Matt Doherty's back, which is a very, very interesting move, to say the very, very least. I do worry for Wolves. There has already been sort of talk, obviously, about Lopetegui's future at Wolves, whether or not he will probably be staying on. I think he will be staying on, if we're being honest. But it's not very good to see what is happening at Wolves. Obviously, financial fair play is obviously playing a big, big part for them signing players. They have lost a lot of firepower up front, because when you look at Diego Costa, when you look at Raul Jimenez, Raul Jimenez, he was injured. He never really recovered after his injury. But selling to a Premier League rival like Fulham is very, very concerning. They've obviously sold Nathan Collins to Brentford as well. This is where I think this season could be a little bit too far for Wolves. Selling players, the owner's reluctant to buy players as well. I have a really horrible feeling that this could be the season that we could potentially see a shock going down. And I'm actually going to say that Wolves will be relegated. So I'm going to go for Wolves to be relegated. So my three to go down are Sheffield United, Luton Town in 20th, Sheffield United in 19th, and also Wolves in 18th position. So just surviving by the skin of their teeth. And yet again, I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest in 17th. Look, I think they have made some very good signings. Anthony Elanga, the jury is out on him. Has to be said. He didn't score for Manchester United in the Premier League. I think he may have got one maybe in the Champions League. So he's a very, very good signing. Chris Wood, they've managed to get on an undisclosed fee. So I think when he played, I think 2 games, obviously triggered the move there as well. But they've obviously got Ola Enya from Torino as well. And they've got Manny Norkett, who I think is a youngster for Manchester United as well. Look, Nottingham Forest did very, very well last season. Steve Cooper was a very, very good manager for them last season. He did manage to keep them in the league. You have to give credit to the owner as well, Maranakis, because he could have easily got rid of Steve Cooper, could have easily got rid of him on a couple of occasions, but they didn't. They managed to, keep hold of him, and I think that was very, very good as well. The City Ground, they had some very good scalps there. If they can keep up with that fortress at the City Ground, I think they'll be absolutely fine. It's just away from home, they were an absolute shambles last season. I think 1 win away from home last season, I think it was against Southampton. It was as well. So I'm going to go for Nottingham Forest to finish in 17th. I do think that they will just have enough to stay up as well. They are trying to get in a goalkeeper. I believe that obviously they are trying to get in Dean Henderson from Manchester United, but they are apparently in for Matt Turner at Arsenal as well. So that could be another interesting summer ahead for Nottingham Forest. But I do think that they will just have enough to survive. Now, I think this team is going to have a much better season than they did last season, but I am still putting them just one position above where they finished last season. I'm going to go Everton in 16th. Sean Dyche, of course, is having his first sort of full season in charge of Everton now. So he's obviously had a big pre-season. He's obviously had a look at what players he wants in, and wants to get out as well. They have got Ashley Young, which I think is a very sensible signing. When you think about it, he's got Premier League experience, and it is a very sensible signing. They have got Arnold Danjuma, which I think is a magnificent signing. Look, didn't get much game time at Spurs. I do think he'll get a few games at Everton, especially with Damari Gray expected to potentially move on in the summer window as well. Looks like I think Palace and probably someone in Turkey, I think, was wanting Damari Gray. So it remains to be seen if he does go. They've also got Yusuf Chermiti potentially signing as well from Sporting Lisbon, which I think is a very good signing. Yes, he's only 19, but it's another striker to add to their firepower. I think they've still got Neil Mopey, haven't they? Yeah, they have got Neil Mopey as well. But look, Everton, final season at Goodison Park. They'll obviously want to have that in the Premier League as well. So this is the final season at Goodison Park as well. So I think we're looking at Everton having a much better season. Still will be a struggle. It will still be a struggle because we do know what they are like, Everton. But I'm actually going to go for them to finish in 16th place, and I do think that they will have a much better season than they did last season. So I'm going to go Everton in 16th position. 15th position, and they finished their last season. I'm going EFC Bournemouth, and I have to say they have signed pretty well. They've signed pretty well. Roman Favre from Lyon, Justin Kluivert as well. Radu from Inter Milan on loan. Milas Kirkic as on. Hamid Traore from Sassuolo as well. Look, all the talk was obviously before the start of the season because they did get rid of Gary O'Neill. Now, I think from looking from what I did short on Gary O'Neill, I think a lot of people kind of expected he was probably a bit of a short term gap. And they've obviously gone in for this Andoni Idriola. I think that's how you say it. He's a good manager. He was good for Rayo Vallecano in La Liga last season. And I do think that he will do well for AFC Bournemouth. Again, it's all a case of, if they can keep their home form up, because Bournemouth's home form was very good last season. They managed to get a couple of scalps, obviously, in there. Liverpool, they managed to, beat as well in there. So I do think Bournemouth are slowly aiming high. I have to say, I do think they are aiming higher as well. But I do think you look at Bournemouth, and I think Jeff Foley does know what he's doing. I think he does know what he's doing. The owner of Bournemouth. And yeah, I think they'll have a good season. And I think again, I don't think they'll be in any relegation trouble whatsoever. So I'm going to go for 15th Bournemouth, and then they can progress up the table in the later seasons ahead to come. So 14th position. And one of the new boys again, Burnley. Yes, do not sleep on this Burnley side. I will say, you do not sleep on this Burnley side. This Burnley side is a much different Burnley side that you have seen under Sean Dyche. So, some of the players they've brought in: James Trafford, obviously Bolton born Manchester City goalkeeper. He has signed for £19 million. Very good signing as well. They've got Zeki Amdouni as well. Jordan Bayer on a permanent deal. Michael Obafemi. Dara O'Shea, Lawrence Vigouroux from Leyton Orient, which is very interesting as well. They've also got Nathan Redmond, Jakob Brun Larsen as well. Look, this is a company. Burnley won the league by an absolute canter last season, and a lot of people were sort of concerned when he came in, what kind of style he would obviously do. Look, that game against Manchester City on the 11th of August is going to be an absolutely fantastic game to watch. Turf Moor under the lights will be very interesting, but don't sleep on this Burnley side, as I've said. They are going to be very, very good to watch. I think they will get a few scalps at home. They seem to play very, very well there. They made that a fortress last season. Going to have to make this a fortress this season. But I'll tell you something, Burnley will do well. Burnley will do well. And I think 14th position is a very, very good first season back in the top flight. And I think, again, they can progress on after that. So I'm going to go Burnley to finish in 14th position. 13th, falling slightly this season, I have Brentford. Brentford's, well, the biggest story for them is Ivan Toney. Let's be honest. That 8-month ban he's managed to not play football until now, the 16th of January 2024. You do feel for him. You do feel for him, but yes, he's been a very, very naughty boy. I do think as well that the ban is obviously trying to send a message across that you don't bet, which I understand. His goals were so important to Brentford last season. Look, Brentford have actually signed very, very well. They've obviously got Nathan Collins, Mark Flecken, who is a goalkeeper from Freiburg, as well. Kevin Schade, they've managed to get back as well from Freiburg. There is talk that David Raya might be leaving. I don't understand why David Raya would want to leave for Arsenal, because when we look at Arsenal and when we look at Brentford, David Raya has been absolutely fantastic for Brentford. He's been a brilliant goalkeeper for them. Is David Raya going to go in there and get get Aaron Ramsdale out, the Arsenal goalkeeper number one? I'm not sure. So maybe staying at Brentford is probably the correct decision. But then again, they have brought Mark Flecken in from Freiburg. Obviously, he's been playing most of the games. As well, I think Brentford will be okay. I think they'll be okay. I think they have signed very, very well as well. I am a bit worried about obviously their goals. Still got Mbeumo, haven't they? They've still got Mbeumo as well. But Thomas Frank, fantastic manager. I think he will do a very, very good job of keeping Brentford in the league again. I do think they will fall, but I do think that Ivan Toney might be a reason for that. But Brentford still a fabulous, fabulous club, and I still think they will have a good season in 13th position, but it's falling ever so slightly as well. So 12th position, I've got Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson is back in permanent charge of Crystal Palace, which is very, very interesting as well. As of recording, they have only signed one player, and that is Jefferson Lerma from Bournemouth. So it remains to be seen. I believe they are getting a Brazilian player from the Brazilian league. The name is obviously going away from me. Palace fans, get in the comments. Let me know who you are getting from there. I think Palace will be okay again. Look, Robert Zaha is obviously the biggest miss. I'm going to say this now. Eze is still a very, very good player. Michael Olise is a very good player. I've obviously got Edward as well. Losing Zaha is a blow. But I do think Palace will have a good season without him. And I do think as well that this is a sort of a season where you can kind of see this is time for Olise, this is time for Eze to, step up to the plate as well. And Palace will probably replace Zaha. They will replace Zaha as well. But Selhurst Park, still a magnificent place to go to play football. I do think Palace will have a very, very good season. Falling one place this season from 11th last season. And I'm going to put Palace in 12th position. So 11th place, again, falling one position, is Fulham. Now, this is all depending on whether or not Alexander Mitrovic is going to be at the club. If he goes, I think Fulham could potentially finish lower. I do think Fulham could finish a little bit lower. If he stays, then I do think Fulham will have a good season, even without him. They have brought in Raul Jimenez to potentially replace him. They've still got Carlos Vinicius. Looks like Willian might be signing on again, which is very, very good. They've got Calvin Bassey from Ajax, which I think is a magnificent move for them as well. I do think when we're looking at Fulham, Marco Silva has turned down and moved to obviously Saudi Arabia. That is magnificent as well to see. Fulham are a good side. They are a very, very good side. I don't think they're going to be in any relegation trouble whatsoever. And I do think they will be looking again to finish as high as possible as well. Like 10th place was a fantastic finish for Fulham last season. Um, and I do think that they will have a good season again. I do think as well, when you look at what Fulham have got, Mitrovic would be a loss, but they can replace Mitrovic. They can replace Mitrovic, but those goals could be a bit of a problem. They could be a bit of a problem. But Fulham, 11th, still a very good season. I do think that they will finish just outside the top 10. And then we are coming on to the top 10, and finishing 10th, I have West Ham United. Now, as of time recording, West Ham have not really bought many players. The only player they've brought in is Sean Moore from Cliftonville on the scores. Obviously, the biggest thing is Declan Rice has left West Ham for Arsenal. Look, West Ham can definitely, replace him. They can definitely replace him. No player is bigger than the club, as they say. I'm a bit concerned of obviously the lack of transfers that have came in. There obviously seems to be a bit of a disagreement in boardroom level with obviously David Moyes as well. Manuel Lanzini is gone. West Ham need a better season. Winning the Conference League was fantastic last season. That was brilliant to watch, brilliant to see as well. They do obviously have the Europa League as well to come, which I think they will do well there as well. They have to make the London Stadium a fortress. I do agree with a lot of people, but again, they seem to pick up a result away from home now and then. I do think they'll have a better season. They've got to have a better season because I think last season's 14th position place was not great as well. But I do think West Ham will finish in 10th place, and it is a big improvement from last season. Now, these positions could have been anybody, let's be honest. So, 9th position, I have Brighton and Hove Albion. I do think that there is going to be a little bit of a drop-off from last season. Like, Brighton had a magnificent season last season. You've got to say, when Graham Potter left for Chelsea, this man called Roberto De Zerbi comes in, and we saw what he could do. The football they played last season was magnificent to watch, Brighton. I am very interested to see how the Bilby will do this season. And when we are watching, obviously, Brighton play football, they are very good. They have brought in very well as well, when you think about it. Mahmoud Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund. They've got Bart Verbruggen as well as a goalkeeper. Joe Pedro as well from Watford. And Igor Julio from Fiorentina. Even got James Milner, or James freaking Milner, for one of my subscribers there. I think Brighton will be fine. I think they'll be absolutely fine. They've got the Europa League to play in as well. And I think they will do well. But I do think we will see a little bit of a drop off, but it'll still be top half. Still be a top half finish for Brighton, and Brighton keep on getting these players and then sell them on for very good prices. Obviously, they sold Alexis McAllister to Liverpool. There is talk that Robert Sanchez might be going to Chelsea. There's also Tottenham. Like Caicedo is also potentially going to Chelsea as well, but Brighton will be absolutely fine, and I'm going to go for them to finish in 9th position. So, finishing 8th, and they finished 8th last season, I'm going to go Tottenham Hotspur. Now, it's all changed at Tottenham. Obviously, we know from last season that Conte is gone. Stellini, who came in as a sort of a replacement, interim, he's gone. So, Ange Postecoglou is the new manager at Tottenham. Look, I think that's a very good appointment. He will take no prisoners from anybody. He is a very good manager as well. And I have to say, I do think Tottenham have brought very well. They've brought in Kulusevski on a permanent. James Maddison from Leicester as well. Guglielmo Vicario from Empoli to replace obviously Hugo Lloris. Manor Solomon as well on a free, which is interesting because he had a good time out of it at Fulham. And so I do think that that could be an interesting one, especially with obviously Son, Kulusevski, and obviously the big story with Spurs obviously is Harry Kane going to stay. Now, if he goes, I do think the Tottenham could potentially finish a little bit lower. But if he stays, I do think that they will be aiming towards the top four, aiming towards sort of that Europa League, and I do think they'll be aiming towards the heights of potentially the Conference League as well. But look, Tottenham need a season of stability. Ange Postecoglou is a very good manager. Give him the funds, he will do well. He will do very, very well. And look, why don't you go for a League Cup? Why don't you go for an FA Cup? Go for these competitions. You're not in Europe, so there's no excuse not whatsoever not to go for it this season as well. But yeah, I'm going to go for Tottenham to finish eighth. I just don't see them having enough to go into the top four, and I don't see them having enough to be anywhere sort of near that top four. But again, I could be completely wrong. But let me know in the comments about that. So now we go into the European places. Seventh place, I'm going Chelsea. Chelsea, yes. I think you'll have a good season. I don't think you'll have as good a season as many people are predicting. I've seen people putting Chelsea sort of top four, even third as well. But I think Chelsea need a season of stability. Mauricio Pochettino is a very good manager, but you need to give him time. You need to give him time. There's no reason why you should sack Pochettino if it doesn't go right for Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, very good players to bring in as well. They've also got Kendrick Paez, who I think is a one for the future as well. They have lost Kai Havertz, they have lost Kovacic, they've lost Loftus-Cheek, Mount, Pulisic, Ampadu, Koulibaly, Mendy, Aubameyang, Azpilicueta, Conte. They've lost a lot of players. Bakayoko's gone as well. So I do think when we look at Chelsea, excuse me, they are getting obviously Robert Sanchez potentially as another goalkeeper, but my worry is Kepa. I've never really rated Kepa as a goalkeeper, and I do think Robert Sanchez coming in, that will give good competition for him and Kepa as well. I think Chelsea will have a good season. But again, I think Conference League is a very, very good thing to go for. I do think it's a good thing to go for. I think there's teams above Chelsea that I do think will have good seasons, and I do think it's going to be very, very competitive. And Chelsea at this moment in time, I think they've got a team ready to sort of be fighting in and amongst the sort of the top four of the European places as well. Not capable of winning the league yet, but they are getting there. They will be getting there. Last season was an absolute write-off for Chelsea. Absolute write-off. So they need a much, much better season. But I'm going to go Chelsea in 7th position. So 6th position, and in the Europa League, I'm going to go Aston Villa. I have been very impressed with Aston Villa's manager. Unai Emery came in, when they were sitting in 17th, I think it was, managed to get them in 7th place last season. That was a magnificent finish, especially from what happened under Steven Gerrard. But you look at the players they brought in. Pau Torres, 33 million. That's an absolute steal for 33 million. Moussa Diaby from Bayer Leverkusen. That's a magnificent signing as well. They've even got Yuri Tillemans on a free as well. And all around the pitch, Ollie Watkins, Jacob Ramsey, John McGinn, Douglas Luiz. They've got a very, very good spine there. Diego Carlos will be coming back when you think about it as well. I've been very impressed with Aston Villa. And I do think as well, Unai Emery deserves a lot of credit for what he has done there. He has done a magnificent job at Aston Villa. And I think Aston Villa will surprise a lot of teams this season. I'm actually going to go for them to finish in the Europa League places. And I think that would be a very, very good move for Aston Villa. And I think it'll be a good season for Aston Villa. Yeah, do not write this Villa team off. I think they could be potentially challenging for those top four positions. I don't think they've got enough to challenge yet, but the signings that they're making, who knows? Who knows for Aston Villa? So just missing outside the top four, I've got Newcastle United. Now, please, someone in the comments tells me, is fifth place next season a Champions League berth? Because at this moment in time, I've just literally gone with putting Europa League there because I am not sure if fifth is Champions League or not. But Newcastle United, the story of last season has to be said. They managed to get fourth place, which is very, very good. Eddie Howe has done a fantastic job. And some of the signings that they have made, well, you've got to say Harvey Barnes, Sandro Tonali, very, very good signings. Very, very good signings as well. They have lost Alan Saint-Maximin. Look, that's going to be a bit of a loss. He was a very, very good winger. The Champions League football is back with Newcastle United, isn't it? It is back. And I do think Newcastle United will play very, very well in that competition. They will give their all for the cause. And St James's Park under the lights in the Champions League night, that would be very, very good to see. But yeah, I just have a feeling that this season, Newcastle United will finish fifth. But as I said, please let me know in the comments, is fifth place a Champions League position for next season? So I'm going to go for fifth, Newcastle United. Fourth, I'm going to go Manchester United. Now, I have to say, Manchester United, my main worry with them is a mentality problem. There were a couple of games last season where they just went up there and expected to just turn up and win. Brentford away was one of them. They got smashed at places like they got smashed 7-0 by Liverpool. They got smashed 6-3 by Manchester City as well. So that's a big, big disappointment if you are a Manchester United support. But Mason Mount, Andre Onana, it looks like they're getting Rasmus Højlund in there as well. The one thing with Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, brilliant manager, brilliant manager, but time and time again, his players are letting him down. His players are letting them down. They need a better season They need a better season this season, in my opinion. Look, getting Champions League football was very, very good. The away form has to improve. You remember that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer season when everyone was totally against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yet they managed to go unbeaten a year away from home, and that was that for Manchester United. I do think when we're looking at Manchester United, I do think that fourth place will still be a good thing to go for. But the mentality problem is my biggest concern with this Manchester United side. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But I've got Manchester United finishing in fourth position. So third, I have Liverpool. Now, I'm going to be honest. I am liking what we are doing in the transfer window. Alexis McAllister, fantastic signing. Dominic Szoboszlai, very, very good signing as well. We are a bit short in midfield at the moment. I do think that we need another centre-back, especially obviously Trent is going to be playing this hybrid role. Again, just like Manchester United, we need a much better away form. Our away form was absolutely shocking last season, especially losing to some teams that you would never think we would lose. Wolves, Bournemouth, Forest. You could pick off some of them, and disappointing. Disappointing is definitely the word to say there. I am going to go first to finish third. I also am going to say this now. I think we can potentially go far in the Europa League, and I do think we could potentially go on and win that as well. So I do think that whatever happens, we will have a good season. I'm not so sure we're going to challenge City as much as I think we will, but I do think that we will be in and around there as well. But I'm going to go for third place, Liverpool. Much better improvement than last season. So that does mean that we do have Arsenal and Manchester City. But what positions have I got them both in? Well, we will wait and see, won't we? We will wait and see. But second place, I'm going for Arsenal now. Mikel Arteta is under the biggest amount of pressure I think you have ever seen for an Arsenal supporter. The money that they have spent, well, you've got to say, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, Jurriën Timber. I mean, that those are already into the 200 million quid um, bracket that they have, paid for these players. So the biggest amount of pressure is on Arsenal. Arsenal did very, very well last season. They just ran out of steam. They ran out of steam. They were top of the league for most of the season. Many people forget that. They have lost Granit Xhaka. Look, they have lost Granit Xhaka. They've lost Pablo Mari as well. But Arsenal are a good side. But I just think something's missing in that Arsenal side. I think they're a bit unbalanced. And when I say that, you've got a midfielder Declan Rice, you've got Kai Havertz, you've got Martin Odegaard as well. That's going to be really interesting to see where they're going to be playing as well. But look, Arsenal will do very, very well. I think they will do well in the Champions League. Unfortunately, though, this Manchester City side are just so difficult to beat. And I am going to just say that they're going to just miss out again. What I will say, though, I think there will be much more a title race this season than there was last season. So I think it'll be neck and neck, and it will go right to before the final day as well. I'm going to go for that to happen. But once again, my champions are Manchester City, and Manchester City. Yes, they might have lost Riyad Mahrez, but getting in Mateo Kovacic is a masterstroke. Mateo Kovacic is a very, very good player for Manchester City. As well, they may have lost Ilkay Gundogan as well, but a fantastic season for Manchester City last season was obviously done by the treble. This is going to be another interesting season for City. They've obviously got the Champions League to defend, they've got the FA Cup to defend as well, and obviously the Premier League to defend as well. But this City side is way, way too good. Erling Haaland, 52 goals last season. Think what he could get this season. Think what he could get this season. But yeah, City for me, just way, way too good. Just way, way too good for everybody this season. So there we go, folks. That is my Premier League predictions for the 23-24 season. I'm sure you have your own. Please, like I said, get your predictions down in the comment section down below. And I really do appreciate everyone's support recently. And all these prediction videos will be coming out one by one. Hoping to do more of these as well. But as I said, thank you very much for watching. Please leave your predictions down in the comment section. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. And also turn that bell notification on for every upload that comes on to this channel. And I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching. See you later. Bye-bye.
Give me all you've got if you're prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lion.